Every traveler's notebook I own has taken me somewhere unexpected. It has a habit of leading me to places that I didn't know I needed to go, and Kurashiki was one of them. Join me today for a store and walking tour in one of Japan's most postcard-perfect cities. Kurashiki is a canal town in Okayama Prefecture. It's a district that thrived during the Edo period as a shipping hub for rice and cotton along the Kurashiki River. The Bikan Historical Quarter is the preserved heart of the area. Most of the buildings here are well preserved and they predate World War II. Bikan actually means beautiful view, and in my opinion, it really lives up to it. To get to Kurashiki from Kyoto or Osaka, you'd first go to Okayama and transfer from there. Kurashiki's Bikan Historical Quarter, where the store is located, is about a 10 to 15 minute walk from Kurashiki Station's south exit. Walking out of the station, it looks like a normal city in Japan, organized and a little bit in between suburban and urban, not as dense as the bigger cities of Tokyo and Osaka. And then, as you reach the historical quarter, it really opens up. The architecture immediately changes, and as you get a glimpse of the canal further in, then you get an understanding of why so many locals include this in their own itineraries. Finding the Superior Labor's Kurashiki store is half the adventure. It's tucked away, and if you follow Google Maps, you'll definitely get lost like I did. At the time of my trip, it leads you to the store through the back alleys, which can be quite tricky. The secret is to find the main inner avenue where most of the craftsman shops are. Once you see this entryway, you go in and the courtyard has a small sign that points you in the right direction. There are a series of shops and trees at the entrance of the historical quarter, but I recommend to go further in. That's also where you end up finding the Superior Labor Kurashiki branch. I like that getting lost here just means stumbling into quiet corners that you wouldn't otherwise have seen, and they have their own surprises for you. Eventually, I made it to the store. Right up front, there's a neat little writer's corner that greets you, complete with a stamping station. It's the kind of setup that makes you want to sit down and write a letter to someone. The stamp station here is a completely different vibe from Travelers Factory's Kyoto branch. That was more industrial and communal bustle, while Kurashiki is like quiet personal discovery. The store itself was quiet. There was only one other person when I went. Now, the Superior Labor, or TSL, is a Japanese brand that's dedicated to canvas bags, leather goods, and other items that are made entirely in Japan, from the raw materials and up. Their flagship store in the Bikan Historical Quarter opened around 2022, I believe. This building used to be a pharmacy that served this neighborhood since 1657, and it's crazy to me and really fitting that a store committed to build things that last is living in a building that's already lasted for hundreds of years. The ground floor is where the bags live, and there are a lot of bags. TSL is known for their engineer bag, a classic silhouette that comes in all shapes and sizes. And without intending to, I ended up bringing one home with me. I have another video where I go into more detail about it, but it's this gorgeous petite-sized tweed that's black with the brass rivets. Since bringing it home, it's been super well loved, and I've even attached this omamori with bears and a happy sun on it, which was attached to my rental bicycle when we did the Shimanami Kaido bicycle ride immediately after visiting Kurashiki. The bag itself is super sturdy with the well-known Kurashiki canvas inside, and the interior has this nice little slip pocket that's super useful. I like the fact that it stands upright by itself, even without any items inside the bag. For people interested in larger bags, they have plentiful options, but do note that The designs do change quite frequently. You can see what's available on their online store, but I noted that the physical store did have a lot of items that weren't necessarily available for purchase online. They also have a bunch of leather stuff that's super well made, and I was trying my best to stick to my budget here, so I stayed away from these shelves, though I really was tempted by the indigo colored ones. There's just something about that Japan blue. For some reason, I don't have footage of the second floor. I think I got so excited to inquire about the custom traveler's notebook. Unfortunately, that day, they already hit capacity, and I wasn't able to get mine. But it's not so bad because I have a reason to go back, and it freed up my budget to get the Tweed bag that I showed you earlier. For some reason, a bag store in Kurashiki makes complete sense because, a bit of background, it was reclaimed from the sea about 400 years ago. And because of the salt content in the soil, the land wasn't ideal for rice cultivation. So instead of that, they grew cotton. That became the seed, quite literally, of an entire textile industry, and the area eventually became a center for fabric production, spinning works, and crafts, which you'll see on these limited edition Kurashiki exclusive traveler's notebook inserts. They've done the design quite well, I feel. A bit minimalist, but it captures the spirit of what Kurashiki was and is today. It comes in this gorgeous soft blue, as well as a cleaner, almost cotton white for the regular sized insert. And I limited myself to one of each because it's just more special that way. The inside is the usual Midori paper, which is in between white and cream, and you get a nice letterpress feel on the back as well. I also picked up this partner shop's passport insert, but I completely forgot to stamp the Kurashiki stamp on one of the pages. So, in my Travelers Factory Kyoto video, you'll see that the first stamp I actually enter into this little passport insert is the one from Travelers Factory Kyoto. So I'm not mad about that at all. Again, it gives me good reason to go back to TSL Kurashiki. Another piece of trivia is that the Kojima district of Kurashiki is considered the birthplace of Japanese denim. So for any fans of that, alongside notebooks, leather goods, and analog tools that last, Kurashiki I think is the place for you. You'll find shops all through the Bikan district dealing in Kurashiki canvas and denim. While looking around the store, I spotted a gorgeous leather backpack that felt like it could easily survive years and maybe even decades. Then I looked at the price tag, smiled and gently kept on walking. So I do recommend coming to Kurashiki with a good budget. For those who aren't really interested in spending most of their budget on something like that, they do offer nice souvenirs that won't break the bank, like postcards. When I visited, they had the typical Kurashiki themed postcards, but also this 500 mile series that featured various photographs from locals. I picked up the one with the dog, of course. And I also like this little Around the Nap Village postcard, so I got a bunch of these. Here I allowed myself doubles because I would stick one in my travel journal and probably display another or actually use it to write to someone. And finally, I picked up a set of Kurashiki postcards, not from Travelers Factory, but from one of the stores nearby. And honestly, while these are gorgeous in themselves, and I'm really happy to have a tangible souvenir, they just don't do justice to how beautiful Kurashiki is in person. It has a different feeling, not exactly serenity, not exactly, not like Kyoto, not like certain areas in Tokyo. I would say it's a playful sort of gentleness, if that makes sense. Very memorable for me is the look of the canal, the water, when the sun went down, and it's not a big dramatic orange sunset. It's more of like cotton candy pink. Just, hello, we're happy to see you, and we hope you've enjoyed your day. That kind of vibe. I also saved some wrapping paper that I kept intact because it had momotaro on it. Momotaro is a Japanese folk hero, and his name literally means peach boy. According to the story, he arrived on Earth inside a giant peach floating down a river, and he was found by an elderly couple who always wanted a child. He grew up strong and brave and eventually set out to an island of demons, accompanied by a dog, a monkey, and a pheasant, and of course, he defeated the demons. It's a story about courage and unlikely companionship, and given that I was about to get on a bicycle for about 70 kilometers the next day, it felt pretty appropriate for the wrapping paper to have. So that's shopping done, and now let's walk around the district together. Here's the main avenue that I mentioned. We really enjoyed seeing the buildings that predate World War II. It feels like the city had made a decision at some point to hold on to itself no matter what. We ducked into one of the most atmospheric coffee shops I've ever been into in my life. It's called Kurashiki Coffee Kan. If you look at Google reviews, you'll see that they actually use atmospheric in the summary because it's so appropriate. They specialize in mostly dark roasts, which were delicious, and I really enjoyed my iced coffee infused with a secret liqueur. I tried asking what it was, but it really was a secret. All I know is it was thick, refreshing, and somehow cozy all at the same time. The rest of our evening was spent getting lost in the small lanes and alleys and appreciating the views. Kurashiki is not that big, so you can easily walk around and find something nice around every corner. We swung by an area called the Ivy Square. Inside, there's a beautiful Machiya-style Lawson's and this huge red brick building that was wrapped in ivy. I feel this area is worth a slow stroll. I believe the building used to be Kurashiki Spinning Works, which has been converted into a cultural complex that people can wander in and out of. And there's a courtyard here that opens up in a way you don't expect. This also is, for me, where the star of the show is. This huge Japanese red maple that looked absolutely stunning in the evening light. I think I spent a good half hour here just admiring the view and the tree. And later you'll see what kind of souvenir I picked up from this place absolutely free. I have footage of the sign at the base of the tree too, so you can verify. Absolutely enormous. It's the kind of tree that makes you stop walking. Then it was back out to the shops as they lit up the evening. Warm amber and quiet and absolutely gorgeous. It was fall when we went, so the temperature did start dropping. I also picked up, incidentally, a souvenir from the Kurashiki station. It's one of the gashapon machines that was there, and it's a pooping white dog, which is really funny to me because now, a few months after that trip, without me knowing, I ended up with a huge white dog that I have to make sure I take out to poo every time. So it's a funny little reminder of that. To top off my memories, I somehow managed to bring home this giant leaf completely intact and tucked safely inside a Kurashiki folder alongside a few other bits and bobs. I didn't pluck this off the tree. It was one of the leaves that had fallen down, just so you know. I also picked up a nice blue pin from Kurashiki and from the Superior Labor, and these leather tags came with their wrapping, So one was in the shape of a Christmas tree, and I honestly can't recall if I bought this one or it came with one of the things that I bought. I think this came with either the apron or the tweed bag. I also picked up this little triangular coin purse made with the same natural leather, and I'm really excited to see how all of these items patina over time. Really, I'm so excited to go back one day for that custom traveler's notebook. I know it'll happen when it's meant to, and until then, my tweed bag, the omamori, this huge leaf, and memories I have of the place are way more than enough. We were making our way back to the station, but seeing the shops lit up warmly against the dark, followed by a final look at the canal at night, it was just magical. I hope you enjoyed going around the store and the area with me, and maybe this can help you plan your trip too. If you include Kurashiki in your future visits, or if you've already been there, please let me know in the comments. I hope you have a nice trip. See you in the next video.